It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. Well, I'm going to be having today's guest is our social media guru. That's what I love to call her, because she comes back on a monthly basis to the Divas That Care, and she talks about all the things that are happening with her and helps all of us learn about social media and the importance of it for our businesses. So I'm always excited about that. But before we get started, for any of you that have just tuned in for the very first time, big welcome to the Divas That Care. We want to welcome you to our Divas family. Divas That Care now has been going into our 11th season for our podcast. We have amazing hosts on the Divas That Care network, and we interview women from around the world. So make sure you check them out at divasthatcare.com. All right, everyone. Brianna Kuhn is back in the house. I'm excited to learn today. So, Brianna, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here again.
Well, you know what? I get so excited when you come back because I'm like, all right, I'm going to implement what she's taught us today. And that's why I get so excited. So would you mind maybe sharing a little bit about yourself for all the people that are just tuning in for the first time?
Yes, of course. So I'm Brianna, as you said, and my company is called Limitless Impact Virtual Management. And my fancy title is I'm a virtual business consultant and social media strategist. In layman terms, that would be equivalent to a virtual assistant or an online business manager and a social media manager.
I love it. And you do so much. A lot of people probably like, well, what does that mean? But, that's why we're going to be diving into today's program, because you're going to explain so much more to them. What did you want to share with all of us today?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about subcontractors versus employees. And, especially in today's world, with the majority of the workforce still working from home, as well as a lot of small businesses, medium-sized businesses that are going through growth spurts, and they're trying to decide, they realize that they need more support, but they're trying to decide whether they should hire an employee or that, they should just hire contract out to someone. And so I kind of wanted to speak to that a little bit more, because I find that sometimes there's confusion between the two.
Yes. Well, there definitely is, because a lot of us wouldn't understand what that all means, but we are making that huge transition. So I think that what you are going to be explaining today is absolutely perfect.
Yeah. So to start off, one of the things that I recommend is if you are a business owner and you're going through that growth phase and you're realizing that you need that more support, one of the most important things you need to do is you kind of have to make a list. Make a list of the things that you're struggling to keep up with, and the stuff that you actually enjoy doing. So if you like doing your social media, awesome, put that down. And you kind of want to figure out, okay, so what are the things that I want to be able to delegate to someone else? And what are things that I can still continue to be responsible for? And once you kind of finish that list, depending how long the list is of what you would like to delegate, kind of makes the decision for you. So if you have, on that list an amount of work for, say, a period of 1 week that matches that 40 hours or even part-time 30 hours, then you're at the point where you would need to get an employee. But if you're hitting kind of that, 10 to 15 hours a week, you actually don't need an employee. You just need a virtual assistant, an online business manager, or someone like myself to subcontract out to. And the reason why I always have the business owner reflect on that is because, one, you can appreciate how far you've come in your business to realize that you need that so much extra support. But also, two, it's a reflection to see where you're currently at in your business and where you're still going to end up in the future.
I love that. And I love that there's a huge advantage, also a financial advantage to having virtual assistants and people that are working remotely. I really see that big trend happening. My virtual assistant is actually in Kansas, and I live in Alberta, Canada. So it's a huge adjustment, like she doesn't have to be here to be able to work with me. And I think a lot of people are now doing that. They're finding people that work really well with them and can help them in so many positive ways.
Exactly. And one of the reasons why I've set my business up the way that I have is so that I am more of a one-stop shop in a sense for business owners, because there's lots of virtual assistants and online business managers that just do specific things, whereas with myself, I have such a wide variety of different services, and because of my team, I'm able to offer so many more things. So the business owner doesn't have to go to multiple people in order to get certain things done. So
and I love that.
I
was going to say, Brianna, and I love that because I've had the opportunity now to interview one of your team members, and I think, what an amazing thing that you guys work together, because I hadn't even known that you do work together and found that out recently, and I thought that makes sense. To me, that partnership made a lot of sense, and I could see why you guys work well together.
Yeah, and I'll speak to that a little bit more later on, but when you surround yourself with like-minded business people, it's creating your support network, and it really does help you, stay motivated and stay on the right path. And that's something that I'm very fortunate to have, is a very large network of different types of people that I'm able to refer to my clients for specific things, just like Emma, who's a brand photographer. And the same thing with my subcontractors. They all have their certain skills that I don't necessarily consider myself a master at. And so I've reached out to them to be a part of my team so that I'm still able to offer that service to my clients.
Oh, my goodness. I think, Brianna, that is absolutely perfect. A lot of people don't do that. And I've seen a lot of different individuals over the years, and, they want to be the person that has all the answers. And to me, that's too overwhelming. I don't want to have all the answers. I know that there's other people out there that are better at certain things than I am. They're smarter than I am. And, why would I not utilize that and make those contacts? And you have done that in such a wonderful, positive way.
Thank you. And, you're totally right. I realized pretty early on in my business that I was going to hit that growth phase pretty quickly, and that it wasn't going to be sustainable with just me on my team. And I understand that it's hard. Your business, you've built it from the ground up, and it's hard to kind of let go and delegate some of those tasks that you've been responsible for so long. And I don't have any kids yet, but I equate it to like when you're dropping your kid off to their first day of school sort of thing. Like that's kind of how the feeling that I had when I invited these subcontractors in. I was nervous. It's my reputation and my standard of work that I want them to meet. And not to say that I'm a hard person to work for. It's just, I want to always have, 110% of myself, my subcontractors working on my clients' projects. And that's one of the things that is really sets subcontractors versus employees apart. In my opinion, I was an employee. I, had my days where I wasn't motivated or I didn't like my job, and I didn't put in my 110%. And as a subcontractor, I've changed to a completely different person. My work motivation is through the roof. And I always say that people who are entrepreneurs, they're a different breed. You know, they're self-employed, and if they don't perform, they're not going to make money. So always having that constant pressure to know that you are responsible for bringing in the dough it gives you a different mindset. And I find that, and this isn't to put a dig at employees or anything, but I find that you get a different level of work and consistency with a subcontractor versus an employee.
Definitely. So, Brianna, I know that you have the people that are working, well, I know Emma works with you and she's pretty close to you. Do you work with just local people, or do you work with global? Like, I know that our listeners are on, there are different places around the world. Can you work with them if they live in another country?
Yes. So currently right now, I have 40 plus clients all over North America, Canada, U.S. I'm actually this week connecting with a few gentlemen who are over the pond. So it's, this business has it's taking me global now, and it's such a surreal feeling, but I can work with you anywhere because I'm considered virtual. You can be in Antarctica. As long as you have a internet connection and we can talk over Zoom or talk over the phone, that's all I need.
I love that. And I think that's what I love best about the internet. There's always been positive and there's negatives to everything, but this is such a positive thing where you can really connect with people on a global scale and do, absolutely amazing things with them.
Completely. And, even working with my clients for a short amount of time, just seeing the stress kind of just fade away. And once they realize, oh my God, I don't have to be responsible for everything in my business. I can hand off some of these things. And I find that it's a bit of a learning curve for them in the beginning, where they will give me, and it's not like they're testing me or anything, but it's like they're testing themselves and how much that they can kind of let go and breathe and give to someone else to handle. And so typically the first month they give me a few things, they're testing the water, seeing what they're comfortable with. And then once they realize, oh my God, I don't have to do, my social media, or I don't have to do, content writing or whatever, right? And then it's such a sigh of relief for them, and they're able to go and get back to that creative mindset and not be bogged down by all the back end of their business.
I love that. That is fantastic. So I'm going to ask you, you had mentioned that you have some subcontractors that you work with. Would you mind sharing with us, maybe a little bit about them and how you guys work as a team?
Yeah, of course. So I have 5 subcontractors under me. I have my friend, actually. She is my admin girl. So she does a lot of the complex Excel stuff, data entry. She reviews a lot of documents for me, picking out the really important parts of it. And then my sister actually is another one, and I call her all about the details. She's very analytical and logical, so she's very good at picking out, little errors or mistakes that, she's my fresh pair of eyes to look at things. And then I have a content and copywriter who's actually based out of Vancouver. We actually connected over social media. And I have a graphic designer who's based outside of Calgary. And then I have a full-time virtual assistant for myself, as well as my clients, to help me with all the technical back end. And she's actually in Edmonton as well. So I've kind of stayed close to home, I guess you could say, but I have done work with people who are in other places of the world. I'm actually working with a 3D graphic artist right now to do some work from one of my clients, and they're overseas. And so I definitely reach out and try to find the best person for the job. And it saves me a lot of time and stress too, because, just to speak to the project that I'm working on right now, I am no way in any means a 3D graphic design artist. So I know that I wouldn't be able to do this project for my clients. So being able to find the person who can do it and be that middle person and organize it for them and then hand them a finished product, it just takes away a lot of that extra work for them. And I love being able to support them with certain tasks like that.
I think that's great. Way to go. I love that you're able to connect people, and, you're definitely helping people build their businesses, but, you're helping a variety of people. And I think that's the main thing. I think today we need to do that. We need to collaborate because there's so many fantastic people out there doing so much work. And I love learning. I love hearing the stories that you're able to impact so many people.
Yeah, and it's something that if I think back to even when I first started my business, I never really thought my business would kind of turn into this, but I'm extremely grateful for the connections that I have and all the people who I work with. And to speak, more to Emma and actually another girl named Amanda, I'm sure for the listeners who follow me on social media have noticed that we actually did a free webinar last weekend, and we created a package, and it's called Brand It, Build It, Boost It. And Amanda is a graphic designer and a brand specialist. I come in with the virtual assistance and the technical knowledge for building your back end of your business. And then Emma comes in and she does the brand photography and gives your brand, a true reflection of you. And so we created this project because we realized as entrepreneurs, when starting your business, there's no kind of one-stop shop where you can access all these different kinds of people who have these different technical skills and specialties to actually start your business for a reasonable price. And once we realized that kind of gap, we had this light bulb moment, and we're like, oh my God, why don't we come together as a team, create this product, and help business owners who are just trying to get off the ground, or even they're just wanting to do a bit of a refresh of their business. And it doesn't have to be something where it's crazy expensive, and it's a one-stop shop.
I love that. Are you just going to be doing this with people in the local area, or is this a big project that you can do everywhere?
So far, we are limiting it to Edmonton and area, or if you are able to travel to Edmonton, because Emma, she's the photographer, so you kind of have to come to her a little bit. And definitely with COVID, it's a little bit difficult in the sense of making it a little bit more broad, graphically speaking. So it's, we are looking at that and the potential of how would we make this grow to, other provinces or even North America. And because Emma, as I'm sure you heard in her show not too long ago, when she's with you, she coaches you through the entire photo shoot, and she really helps you with your confidence, the posing, and that's something that's key to her process. So it's hard to kind of not have her there and do it over Zoom or something like that, right? Or have another photographer do it. So right now we've kind of limited it to Edmonton and area, so we're able to offer that very special experience with Emma.
Oh, I love that. And that's something that I would love to do with Emma one of these days also.
Yeah, I had a shoot with her recently, and it seriously was the most fun, and I love the photos. Definitely recommend her, and I definitely recommend Amanda for any of your, she is like a creative genius. Some of her work is like awe-inspiring. Her take on how she can take a conversation with a business owner and then transform it into an image is just unreal. It's very, just even going onto her Facebook and taking a look at some of her graphic work, it's unreal. That's really the only way to say it.
I love it. And Brianna, would you mind sharing your Instagram with our listeners so that they can go check it out and see some of the stuff that you guys are posting out there?
Yeah, of course. So you can find me on Instagram. It's at Limitless Impact. And if you're wanting to more information about the Brand It, Build It, Boost It package, I do have the link in my bio, so you can click in there and definitely take a look or send me a message if you want to talk a little bit more about it.
Brianna, is there any last-minute things you'd love to share with our listeners, any tips, tools, or things happening in the future?
Well, definitely, one of the last shows I talked about Instagram Reels, and I gotta say, incorporating that into my social media posting schedule has really changed the insights of my account and my engagement rate. So I know it's a lot at first, and it seems a little intimidating to, dance in front of the camera or even create a short clip and edit it, but take the risk. You will see the result.
Well, we will definitely be trying that one. I've never been one to do something like that, but I will take your advice and I will try that for the divas. Well, Brianna, thank you so much for coming on to today's program. I always love having you on.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to talking with you next month.
Yes, me too. I every time you come on, Brianna, I learn so much, so I do appreciate. And everybody, I hope that you check out our amazing Divas guru, Brianna Kuhn. We're going to be posting all of her social media on our post after this program, so make sure you check that out. You're going to love her. She's just an amazing woman. And a big shout out to all of our listeners. As I said, it's because of all of you amazing listeners. We've been doing this now for 11 years. Thank you so much for sharing it and inspiring so many people out there. That's, really that's what it comes down to. And that's why we do the Divas That Care, is we want to help inspire and empower women around the world. So thank you again. I hope that you all have a fantastic day and that you do something kind. Until next time, everyone.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.